Hello with the Massey families. I'm Reginald Massey.
And I'm Tarvia.
We're going to tell you a story here. On April 27 is the day that changed my life. On April 27, I was at lunch. It was a nice sunny day, and I was just laughing. I was at lunch with two of my friends at work, and I received a phone call stating that I need to call home. I called my sister, and my sister said that Mom and Dad had to go to the hospital because they couldn't hardly, my mother couldn't hardly breathe. So I called the hospital, couldn't get a hold of her, and then I finally talked to my mom, and it sounded like she couldn't hardly breathe. And then I asked her what she said, was she okay? And the way she sounded was very heartbreaking because I never heard my mother sound like that. It sounded like she was trying to gasp for air, but she said she was okay, and I started crying because I never heard my mom sound like that. So what I did, asked her, should I come home? She told me, no, don't come home because it's bad up there, and she don't want me to come up to Chicago.
During COVID.
This was during COVID time because if I went to Chicago, I couldn't see her anyway. So I called her the next day. She said she's feeling a little bit better. I told her I love her. She said, I love you more. Then I called the next day, and she told me that she's doing a little bit better, but they were talking about putting her under the respirator.
The ventilator.
The ventilator. And that was the last time I talked to my mom. And it was very, very heartbreaking. Waited one more day, 2 days, and we decided, they said that my mother passed away. I knew before she passed away that she passed away because I hopped about the bed that morning and something came to me and say, listen, my mother, like she was speaking to me, stating that she's going to be okay. So I got up crying. I woke up my wife and told her. It was about 6 something in the morning, and I called my sister to tell her that Mom has gone. And that was the worst day of my life. And I cried. I went outside. I cried because I was kind of living my life through my mom, because my mom has been coming to see me ever since 1979, 80. So we always look forward through the holidays, either on Thanksgiving or Christmas, that my mom came down here every single year. So it was very heartbreaking. I went outside. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. My mom is gone. I just stood outside in front of the house, and then my wife came outside and said, listen, you still got a wife and a son here. And that's what brought me back down. So my wife was helped me get through it. She hadn't felt that pain before, so I was trying to speak to people that felt the pain, which was my brother-in-law. And then Pastor called me and said that I should speak to Tracy because Tracy had a story to tell me. And I was crying so much, and I called Tracy. And Tracy really, really helped me out because she told me the situation that she was in, which helped me out a whole lot. Because I had my mom at 80 to 86, and Tracy had her mom probably at least 20, 30 years less than I had my mom. So that made me realize that 86 years was really a long time, but 86 years is still not enough time. There's never enough time for your mom. So we were going through it and going through it and going through it, and this is another part of the story.
In the midst of all that, we was taking care of my father-in-law, and then
went home. They told me that my mom had to be out of the hospital within 48 hours. I was going to put her on the van, so we called the cemetery, the funeral home. We're not able to go to the hospital. We weren't able to go to a funeral, so all the plans was made. My sister was in Japan.
Italy.
It was in Italy, and one of my other sisters was here in Jacksonville. My older sister had COVID, so she was locked up in the house. So basically, there was no funeral for my mom whatsoever. We didn't have no funeral. We didn't have no funeral for her. So we went home in July to pick up my dad. We had to tell my dad that she was gone because he was looking for her. We kept telling him. Now we talking, June. Imagine from March to June, he was gone. He was in the hospital and do rehabilitation. So I like change because he had to come to Jacksonville, Florida. So when he came to Jacksonville, Florida, we took care of him. My wife did a very good job. We took care of my dad, and then he passed away too.
Don't cry, Reggie.
And within a year and a half, I lost my mother-in-law, and my dad. And my life has been changed since then. All I can tell people is it's a hard journey, but you're going to make it through. And it's hard when you go through it. You know, I was raised not to cry. I've cried the last 2 years more than Tarvia probably see me crying. In the last 2 years, we've been married and been together for a long time because, you know, man's supposed to be tough. But when you lose a family member or someone you love, you're just uncontrollable. And I miss him. You know, I did all I could, where I could, so I don't have any animosity about anything, any regrets about anything, because I did everything I could for them. And, you know, all I can say is, it's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes my wife don't see me. We go to church sometimes, and she have on church, you know, church music, and I drive, I be crying. She don't know it. She don't look over. But tears come down my eyes because I remember my mom. And it's a hard situation, but through it all, you're going to make it. But you're going to still cry. It's going to still hurt. But you got to continue to go. You still have some people,
yeah,
you
life goes on.
You still have a family. You still got to go. Because the best thing you can do is continue your life, because it has to be continued. Don't just stop. Think about the good times. Mm-hmm. And each year it's going to get better, but it's still going to hurt as long as you live. And that's our story. And again, Tracy, thank you very much. And thank you, Tarvia, for being such a wonderful wife to me. Thank you so much.